Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's episode of Science to Sleep By. Tonight, I invite you to lie back, close your eyes, and let your mind wander gently. This is not just a lecture, it's a journey, a quiet exploration designed to ease you into rest, while opening your imagination to one of the most fascinating questions of all. What if your brain is connected to the universe itself? We often think of the brain as an organ of thought and memory, a private space locked inside our skull. But what if, in ways both subtle and profound, your mind is entangled with the stars, with the galaxies, and with the mysterious forces of the cosmos? Let's explore this together, slowly, calmly, drifting between science and wonder, until sleep arrives naturally. As you settle in, let your body sink a little deeper into comfort. The air around you feels quiet, the lights are low, and the weight of the day begins to fade from your shoulders. Tonight, we are beginning a journey, not one that takes you across continents or oceans, but one that travels inward and outward at the same time. This is the beginning of a thought experiment, one that gently unfolds in your imagination while the rest of you drifts slowly towards sleep. The question before us is simple to state, but vast in meaning. What if your brain is connected to the universe? When you close your eyes, your mind continues to flicker with life. Electrical currents pulse softly through your neurons, millions of tiny sparks passing along invisible highways of thought. If you could see inside your brain right now, you would find an astonishing city of connections, lights blooming and fading. Entire neighborhoods of neurons speaking to one another in patterns too complex for even the most advanced computers to fully decode. Yet what is perhaps most beautiful is that this inner landscape is not sealed off from the universe outside of you. Instead, it may reflect it in ways we are only beginning to imagine. Scientists have often said that the human brain is one of the most complex structures in the known universe. But have you ever paused to notice the symmetry of that phrase? The brain is within the universe, yet it is also a mirror of it. To think about this is to step into a place where science meets philosophy, where measurable facts touch the edge of mystery. And that is where our thought experiment begins. Imagine for a moment the night sky. If you have ever stood beneath it, perhaps in a quiet field or along a dark coastline, you know the feeling. Countless stars spread above you, silent yet alive with ancient light. The sight can make you feel small, but it can also make you feel part of something immeasurably vast. Now, picture those stars rearranged into patterns, the way galaxies cluster together, connected by filaments of cosmic matter stretching across the observable universe. Hold that image gently in your mind. Now, turn your thoughts inward. The same pattern can be found inside your skull, where neurons connect into filaments, where electrical impulses leap across tiny gaps, and where networks form a living galaxy of thought. The outer and the inner seem to echo one another, as though drawn from the same blueprint. This is not just a poetic comparison. Neuroscientists and astrophysicists alike have marveled at the similarity. The network of galaxies across billions of light years and the network of neurons inside a single human brain both display a surprising kind of order. They both rely on the balance of connections, the flow of energy, and the emergence of complex behavior from simple rules. In other words, the very same principles that govern the stars also appear to govern your thoughts. This does not mean the brain and the cosmos are identical, but it does invite us to wonder if they are somehow linked. As you breathe slowly and allow your body to relax, think of what it means to be part of such a connection. Every thought passing through your mind, every memory floating in and out, every emotion rising and falling, each of these is shaped by electricity and chemistry. And yet, electricity itself is born of the universe, a force written into the laws of physics long before human beings ever walked the earth. The chemistry in your brain comes from atoms forged in ancient stars, stars that lived and died billions of years ago. So, in a very real sense, your mind is not just yours. It is the universe contemplating itself. Take a moment to feel the weight of that idea. Your thoughts, your imagination, even the quiet act of listening to this voice as you drift towards sleep, all of it is a continuation of cosmic history. When you were born, You inherited not just DNA from your parents, but matter from the stars, energy from the cosmos, and patterns that echo the shape of the universe itself. And now, as you rest, those patterns continue to play out in the silence of your brain, neurons flashing like constellations. In the United States, where city lights often obscure the night sky, many people rarely see the Milky Way stretching across the heavens. But inside, whether you live in a small town, a bustling city, or somewhere in between, the Milky Way has already left its mark. Its dust, its elements, its radiation, all of it runs through you. It shapes the very thoughts you think, the very dreams you are about to enter. You may not see the stars tonight, but you carry their memory within you. This thought experiment is not meant to prove anything, but to open a door of imagination. As you drift, you can picture your brain not as an isolated organ locked inside your skull, but as a living participant in the universe's grand design. The electrical storms inside your head may seem private, but in truth, they are part of the same physical laws that govern supernova, black holes, and the birth of galaxies. To think this way is to expand your sense of self, to feel less like a solitary individual and more like a thread woven into a vast cosmic tapestry. Your body, resting now, is wrapped in the air of Earth. This air is itself the product of billions of years of cosmic processes, volcanoes, oceans, forests, and countless life forms shaping the atmosphere you breathe. With every breath, your brain draws in oxygen, fueling its electrical dance. You inhale the present, but you also inhale history. That oxygen was once part of plants, part of ancient seas, part of molecules carried by winds long before you were born. The brain is not separate from the circulation of matter and energy. It is an active participant in it. Now imagine drifting further into this idea. The neurons in your brain are not only nourished by the oxygen in the air, they are also sensitive to rhythms, to cycles of day and night, to patterns of light and darkness. Your circadian rhythms, the reason you grow sleepy at night, are tuned to the rotation of Earth, to the orbit of the planet around the sun, and to the tilt of Earth's axis. Your brain, in other words, has been quietly listening to the universe since the moment you came into being. Its patterns are not random, but deeply synchronized with the cosmos. Even your urge to sleep now is, in a way, the echo of a planetary rhythm written into your biology. And so, as you lay here, letting your body soften, you can begin to feel how connected you are. The brain inside you, full of memories, emotions, and possibilities, is more than just a machine of flesh. It is a reflection of the universe, shaped by its forces, mirrored in its patterns, and nourished by its energy. You are not apart from the cosmos. You are an expression of it, carried along in its endless flow. When you think about the human brain, it is easy to imagine it simply as a collection of cells and tissues, an organ that sits quietly inside the skull, hidden from view. But if you pause and allow your imagination to wander, you begin to see something extraordinary. The brain is not merely an organ. It is a landscape so vast and intricate that it rivals the very universe itself. Every moment you are alive, this universe within you is expanding and evolving, weaving together thoughts, feelings, and experiences, just as the cosmos we gaze at in the night sky weaves together galaxies, stars, and planets. Consider for a moment the sheer scale of it. Inside your head are roughly 86 billion neurons, each one capable of making thousands of connections. These neurons form pathways that carry signals, thoughts, and emotions, creating a network of almost incomprehensible complexity. If you could map it all out, the structure of your brain would resemble the web of galaxies stretching across space. Both are bound by invisible forces, both grow by forming connections, and both contain mysteries that we are still struggling to understand. Scientists call this similarity a kind of universal architecture, as if the same blueprint that designed the galaxies also found a way to design the brain. Imagine floating far out into space, looking down at the clusters of galaxies that stretch for billions of light years. Their patterns form great cosmic webs, glowing filaments that appear almost alive as they spread across the vastness. Now shrink that view, turning inward, and picture the firing of neurons inside your own head. They, too, form glowing webs, threads of light that spark and fade, weaving thoughts and memories. One structure exists on a cosmic scale, the other on a microscopic scale, yet both obey the same quiet elegance. Both are proof that complexity can arise from simple rules repeated again and again, whether in the emptiness of space or in the folds of the human mind. The brain, in its silence, is as alive with energy as the stars. Each time a neuron fires, a tiny electrical pulse flashes, like the light of a distant sun. These flashes do not happen randomly. They join together, forming waves, rhythms, and harmonies, much like galaxies joining into clusters and clusters into superclusters. The brain is not a static machine, but a dynamic universe, constantly shifting, rearranging, and evolving with every thought you have. The energy within it never rests, just as the cosmos itself never stands still. Stars are born, stars collapse, galaxies collide, and in the same way, neurons connect, disconnect, and form new pathways, reshaping who you are with every passing moment. It is often said that the brain is the seat of consciousness, the place where self-awareness arises. But consciousness itself is a mystery as deep as the origins of the universe. We cannot fully explain how electrical sparks between neurons give rise to the richness of experience, to love, to memory, to imagination. And perhaps we do not need to fully explain it, at least not tonight. It is enough to acknowledge that what happens inside your mind is not so different from what happens among the stars. The universe creates galaxies, suns, and planets, and your brain creates thoughts, dreams, and stories. Both are acts of creation, both are vast beyond measure, both leave us humbled when we try to comprehend their scale. The brain also holds time within it, just as the universe does. When you recall a memory, you are traveling backward in your own inner cosmos. When you imagine the future, you are leaping forward into possibilities not yet realized. The universe does something similar. It holds the past in the light of ancient stars, traveling millions or billions of years to reach us. It holds the future in galaxies still forming, in stars yet to ignite. To look at the stars is to see time stretched out before you, and to look inward into your own thoughts is to glimpse the same phenomenon on a human scale. The brain is a time machine of its own, and so is the cosmos. As you rest, let yourself imagine the quiet harmony of this parallel. Picture neurons firing like constellations inside you, each one a star in your private universe. Each cluster of neurons might hold a memory, just as each cluster of stars holds planets. Entire galaxies of thought exist inside your head, some bright and active, others dormant and waiting to be awakened. When you dream, these galaxies rearrange themselves, creating landscapes and stories as vivid as any world in the night sky. Dreams are proof that your brain is not just a storage space but a living cosmos, endlessly generating new creations, just as the real universe endlessly forms new stars and new galaxies. If you have ever felt small beneath the night sky, remember this. The very patterns that overwhelm you out there are also alive within you. The scale is different, but the structure is familiar. You are carrying the stars inside your skull. The great cosmic web has its echo in your neural web, and you are as much a part of the universe as the galaxies themselves. When astronomers speak of the universe expanding, it is not only space that grows but understanding, connection, and wonder. And when neuroscientists study the brain, they find the same boundless expansion in the form of new pathways, new thoughts, new possibilities. There is also beauty in the way the brain and the universe both balance chaos and order. Neither is fully predictable, and yet neither is completely random. Stars explode without warning, galaxies collide, and yet the universe maintains its structure. In your brain, neurons fire in unpredictable ways, thoughts arise and dissolve, memories surface and fade, yet somehow, a stable sense of self persists. This delicate balance is what allows both the cosmos and the mind to exist in harmony. Too much chaos and nothing would hold together. Too much order and nothing new would ever emerge. It is in the middle ground, the space between certainty and unpredictability, that creation flourishes. Think about what that means for you lying here now, listening and drifting. Your mind is both orderly and chaotic, both structured and free-flowing. That is not a flaw, but the very reason you can think, feel, and dream. In the same way, the universe itself is both turbulent and balanced, both destructive and creative. Galaxies form from the collapse of stars, and your thoughts form from the collision of ideas. The brain and the cosmos are not separate, they are variations of the same grand symphony, playing out at different scales. The comparison deepens when you consider how both the brain and the universe are connected beyond themselves. The galaxies we see are not alone. They interact with one another, bound by gravity, exchanging matter and energy. In the same way, your brain is not isolated. It constantly communicates with your body, receiving signals from your senses, sending commands to your muscles, maintaining rhythms that keep you alive. Even more than that, it communicates with other brains through words, expressions, and emotions, forming networks of consciousness that span entire societies. Just as galaxies are bound together in clusters, so too are human minds bound together in communities. You are not just a universe within. You are part of a network of universes, each brain like a galaxy, each human like a star system, all connected by invisible threads of communication and understanding. As you breathe, slowly and deeply, allow yourself to picture this connection. Inside you is a cosmos of neurons. Outside you is a cosmos of galaxies. And between them is a resonance that science is only beginning to uncover. One is made of stars, the other of cells, but both share the same quiet poetry of structure. Both tell the story of creation, growth, and endless possibility. There is a place in science where the vast and the tiny meet, where the immensity of the cosmos overlaps with the invisible world within atoms. It is the strange, delicate world of quantum physics. At this scale, reality does not behave as we expect. Particles can exist in more than one state at the same time. They can appear and vanish, as though reality itself is flickering. They can influence one another across great distances, connected by something scientists call entanglement. This is the realm where mystery deepens, and where some thinkers have begun to wonder whether the brain itself, with all its complexity, might be more deeply tied to the universe than we once believed. When you think of your brain, you imagine a physical organ, solid and material, composed of billions of neurons. But those neurons, like everything else in the physical world, are built from atoms, and those atoms themselves are woven from particles that obey the rules of quantum physics. This means that the very building blocks of your thoughts are subject to quantum laws. Every spark of electricity that passes through your brain, every chemical exchange that shapes a memory, begins in the subatomic world. And in that world, the ordinary rules of time and space bend into something almost dreamlike. Consider the idea of quantum superposition. A particle can exist in more than one state at once until it is observed or measured. It is as though the universe itself waits to decide what is real. Some scientists have suggested that consciousness might, in some way, be linked to the strange uncertainty that your awareness could be connected to quantum states flickering within your neurons. While this is not yet proven, it is a fascinating possibility. If it were true, it would mean your thoughts are not only shaped by biology, but by the same mysterious rules that shape the universe at its most fundamental level. Then there is quantum entanglement, one of the most puzzling phenomena in physics. When two particles become entangled, they remain linked no matter how far apart they are. Change one, and the other responds instantly, even across vast distances. Albert Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. To this day, we do not fully understand why it happens, only that it does. Some researchers have speculated that this phenomenon might also play a role in the brain, allowing different parts of the mind to coordinate more efficiently than classical physics alone would allow. Others wonder if entanglement could connect minds beyond the body, linking consciousness across space in ways we cannot yet measure. Imagine, for a moment, that your thoughts are like ripples in a pond. On the surface, you see the waves spread outward, fading into stillness. But beneath the surface, unseen currents may be flowing, connecting distant points in subtle ways. If quantum entanglement exists within the processes of your brain, then perhaps your consciousness is not entirely confined to your skull. Perhaps it participates in a network of connections that reach beyond what you can sense, threads tying you to the wider universe. This idea is not without controversy. Many scientists caution against assuming too much from the mysteries of quantum physics. They remind us that the brain is also subject to noise, to heat, to chaos conditions that normally destroy delicate quantum states. And yet, some evidence suggests the opposite. In certain biological systems, such as the process of photosynthesis in plants or the navigation abilities of birds, quantum effects appear to play a role. If nature has found a way to preserve quantum coherence in these settings, then perhaps it has found a way to preserve it in the brain as well. Picture the brain as more than a web of neurons, more than chemistry and electricity. Picture it as a place where quantum possibilities flicker, where thought itself might emerge from the interplay of probabilities, where decisions and perceptions are guided by forces deeper than we can see. In this way, your brain could be a bridge between the tangible and the intangible, a meeting ground between the classical world you know and the quantum world that underlies it. Think, too, about what this means for your connection to the universe. If your consciousness depends on quantum effects, then in some sense, your awareness is woven into the very fabric of reality. The particles that make up your brain are not separate from the particles that make up the stars. They obey the same laws, participate in the same dance, and may even remain connected through entanglement. This means that your experience of self-awareness may not be an isolated event. It could be part of a continuum that stretches across space and time, a resonance of the universe experiencing itself through you. The thought can feel almost overwhelming, yet soothing at the same time. To lie here and imagine that your mind is not simply contained in your body, but participates in something much larger, brings a sense of belonging. You are not a closed system. You are porous, open to the laws of the cosmos, governed by the same principles that shape the smallest particles and the largest galaxies. Quantum physics, though mysterious, offers a glimpse of this truth. Reality is not fixed, not rigid, but fluid and interconnected. There is also a strange comfort in knowing that uncertainty is not only part of physics, but part of you. Just as particles can exist in many states, so too can your mind hold many possibilities. Each decision you make, each path you consider, is like a wave of probability collapsing into reality when you choose. Your brain is not a machine following a rigid program. It is a field of potential, constantly reshaping itself. And this too mirrors the universe, where stars collapse into black holes, where galaxies merge, where entire realities emerge from a sea of possibilities. As you breathe slowly, feel how this perspective softens the boundaries of self. You are not separate from the quantum world. You are made of it. The uncertainty in your mind, the mystery of your awareness, the endless potential of your thoughts, all of it is a continuation of the quantum fabric that underlies the universe. You are not just a passive observer of reality. You are reality, alive and aware, a conscious ripple in the sea of existence. Imagine drifting deeper into this connection. Picture each neuron in your brain not just as a cell, but as a quantum player, its state uncertain until it joins with others to form the harmony of thought. Picture your awareness not as a solitary flame, but as part of a network of lights, flickering across the universe, joined by invisible threads of entanglement. Perhaps when you feel a sudden sense of connection to another person, when you share a thought without speaking, when you dream of something before it happens, it is the whisper of this deeper connection, the quantum roots of consciousness reaching out beyond the self. The universe, at its core, is not made of solid things, but of relationships, particles influencing one another, waves overlapping, probabilities collapsing into form. And so it is with your brain. Your thoughts are not solid objects but patterns of relationships, connections forming and dissolving, possibilities realized and then replaced by others. Both the cosmos and the mind are processes, ongoing acts of creation, endless dances of energy and possibility. As you drift further into rest, you can carry with you this image, your brain as a quantum field, alive with uncertainty and connection, woven from the same rules that guide the stars. Each spark of thought is not only yours, but also part of the universe's great unfolding. The boundary between self and cosmos fades, leaving only the quiet hum of connection, a reminder that, in the deepest sense, you are never truly alone. Every thought you experience begins with energy. Every memory, every dream, every flicker of imagination is carried on waves of electrical signals inside your brain. This energy is so small you rarely notice it, yet without it, there would be no awareness, no self, no life as you know it. And yet, what is easy to forget is that this energy is not born in isolation. It does not come only from the food you eat or the oxygen you breathe. It is, in truth, part of the same energy that has flowed through the universe since the beginning of time. The thoughts moving through your brain right now are fueled by power as ancient as the stars themselves. Take a moment to imagine the origin of that energy. Nearly 14 billion years ago, the universe burst into being in an event we call the Big Bang. Out of that moment came all the energy that would ever exist. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed, and so the spark that began the cosmos is still here, still flowing, still alive inside you. The electricity firing in your neurons tonight is a direct descendant of that first explosion of light. The same energy that gave birth to galaxies is now powering your imagination. In this way, every thought you have is part of a story that stretches back to the dawn of creation. The stars, too, have shaped the energy in your mind. Each atom of your body was once part of a star, forged in nuclear furnaces burning at unimaginable temperatures. Stars spend their lives releasing energy, flooding space with radiation and light, scattering heavy elements when they explode. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the carbon that forms your cells, all of it was once energy in the heart of a star. That energy cooled, condensed, and eventually became you. And still, in a quieter way, the stars continue to touch you. Cosmic rays travel across the galaxy, sometimes colliding with your body, passing through you without your awareness. You are never separate from this invisible stream. Even the light you see each day carries energy from space. When sunlight reaches your eyes, photons interact with cells in your retinas, setting off cascades of signals that travel into your brain. What you see is not just vision, it is cosmic energy translated into thought. The warmth you feel on your skin when you step outside on a summer afternoon is also energy, journeying across 93 million miles from the sun to you. This warmth fuels the growth of plants, which become food, which in turn provides the calories that keep your brain alive. In this way, every idea you form, every dream you drift into, is powered by sunlight, light that has traveled across space for 8 minutes before landing on Earth. Light that carries with it the story of the sun. The energy of the universe shapes you in more subtle ways as well. Your body is bathed in the electromagnetic field of Earth, a shield that protects you from solar winds and cosmic radiation. Without this magnetic cocoon, life as we know it would not exist. Yet you do not have to think about it. You simply live within it, just as fish live within water. Some scientists believe our brains may even respond to these fields, tuning themselves in ways we cannot fully sense. Birds, after all, are known to navigate using Earth's magnetic field, and it is possible that humans, too, feel these patterns in ways too faint for conscious awareness. Even deeper, there are rhythms in the cosmos that your brain listens to without knowing it. The cycle of day and night, born of Earth's rotation, regulates your circadian rhythm, guiding when you feel awake and when you grow tired. The lunar cycle has influenced human sleep and behavior for thousands of years. The pull of the moon shapes the tides of the ocean, and since you are mostly water, it is tempting to think it shapes you too, however subtly. The brain is not isolated from these cycles, it is synchronized with them, adjusting hormone levels, shaping moods, regulating rest. Cosmic energy, whether from the stars, the sun, or the moon, leaves its quiet fingerprint on every thought you have. If you pause to breathe slowly, you may begin to sense this connection. The oxygen filling your lungs was created in ancient stars, carried across eons, bound into molecules that now keep your neurons firing. The glucose your body breaks down into energy was made by plants reaching toward sunlight, pulling photons out of the sky and turning them into life. Each inhale and each heartbeat is an exchange with the cosmos, a reminder that your brain is not separate from the flow of universal energy, but utterly dependent upon it. Your very consciousness is a flame lit by the energy of the universe. Consider how thought itself is energy moving through matter. When you imagine something, when you recall a memory, electrical impulses surge through your neurons. These impulses are not unlike currents of electricity in a storm or lightning flashing in the night sky. The sparks in your brain are smaller, quieter, but they obey the same laws of physics. They are guided by the same principles that govern the flow of energy across the cosmos. The difference is that in your brain, these sparks carry meaning. They form the shape of your inner world, the landscape of memory, language, and emotion. But at their core, they are no different from the lightning bolt or the solar flare. They are expressions of energy transforming from one form into another. Think about the waves of energy that surround you every moment. Radio signals fill the air. Wi-Fi and satellite transmissions cross the sky. Cosmic microwave background radiation, the faint echo of the Big Bang, still hums quietly, invisible, but real, bathing the universe with its whisper of ancient energy. Your body is immersed in this ocean of waves, most of them unnoticed. Some pass through you without leaving a trace. Others, like visible light, enter your body and become part of your experience. Energy flows through you constantly, making your mind a participant in the grand current of the cosmos. Perhaps this is why so many ancient traditions saw the human mind as part of a larger universe. Long before modern science, people believed that thought was connected to the heavens, that energy flowed between the stars and the self. Today, while the language has changed, science echoes some of those intuitions. We now know that the energy in your brain is borrowed from sunlight, from starlight, from the atoms forged in the heart of dying stars. What the ancients imagined as a mystical link, we now describe in the language of physics and biology. Yet the sense of wonder remains the same. As you rest, you can imagine your thoughts as waves of cosmic energy, gentle ripples on the surface of your awareness. These ripples are powered by forces older than time, forces that stretch across galaxies, forces that once ignited the stars and now ignite the neurons in your brain. Every dream you enter tonight, every image that forms in the theater of your mind, will be carried on this energy, an unbroken thread from the dawn of creation to this very moment. And as you breathe, slowly and steadily, you are participating in this eternal exchange, a quiet flow of energy that connects you to the universe itself. Long before the tools of modern science were built, long before telescopes revealed the galaxies and microscopes showed the cell, human beings looked up at the sky and inward at their own thoughts and saw a connection. The ancients may not have had the language of neurons or quantum physics, but they felt in their hearts that the mind was not isolated. To them, consciousness was woven into the fabric of the cosmos. For thousands of years, different cultures told stories of how the brain, the soul, or the spirit mirrored the stars, and how our inner world reflected the greater universe. Imagine the night sky as it would have appeared to people thousands of years ago. No city lights blocked the stars. No glowing screens pulled the gaze downward. The heavens stretched above in their full brilliance, rivers of stars flowing across the dark. To the people who lived in that world, the stars were not just distant lights. They were living presences, signs, and guides. They believed that their own minds were touched by these cosmic fires. The Sumerians, among the first civilizations to study the heavens, mapped the stars and believed they were linked to the rhythms of human life. The Egyptians aligned their temples with celestial bodies, believing that divine wisdom flowed from the stars into the human soul. Across the ocean, The Maya studied the motion of Venus and recorded the cycles of the moon with astonishing precision. They believed that the patterns of the heavens shaped the patterns of human thought and behavior. The ancient Chinese developed systems of cosmology, where the harmony of the mind was seen as an echo of the harmony of heaven and earth. In India, sages described the human mind and body as being infused with prana, a vital energy that connected all living things to the universe, an energy not unlike the modern concept of bioelectricity. In Greece, philosophers like Plato spoke of the cosmos as a great living being, and of the human soul as a reflection of that universal order. What is striking is that across all these different traditions, separated by geography and time, a common theme emerges: the belief that the human mind is not separate, but continuous with the universe. They did not see thought as trapped inside the skull. They saw it as something larger, something connected to the stars, the planets, and the cycles of nature. Their stories and rituals reflected this deep intuition. As the centuries passed, modern science began to grow. Telescopes showed that the stars were suns, unimaginably far away. Microscopes revealed cells and bacteria. Gradually, the mysteries of the universe and the mysteries of the human body began to be explained through observation and measurement. The language of myth gave way to the language of mathematics. Yet even as science advanced, some of the old intuition remained. Scientists began to notice patterns that echoed the insights of the ancients, even if they described them differently. Take, for instance, the idea that the mind is influenced by the cosmos. Ancient astrologers believed that planets and stars shaped human thought. Today, while we no longer see astrology as a science, we do know that cosmic forces influence us in profound ways. The cycles of the sun regulate our circadian rhythms. The pull of the moon shapes the tides and may subtly affect sleep. Solar storms can disrupt electrical systems on Earth, including the delicate machinery that humans rely upon. The cosmos may not guide our personalities in the way astrologers once claimed, but it does leave a measurable imprint on our bodies and our brains. In this way, modern science circles back to a truth that ancient people already felt. We are not separate from the heavens. Another echo of the past can be found in the way ancient traditions spoke of vital energy. In India, it was prana. In China, ki. In Greece, pneuma. These were not just metaphors but living ideas, describing the sense that life itself was powered by an invisible force that connected the inner self to the outer cosmos. Today, neuroscience describes something similar, though in a different vocabulary. We speak of electrical impulses traveling through neurons, of neurotransmitters carrying signals across synapses, of energy fueling thought and action. While the ancients spoke in the language of spirit, and modern science speaks in the language of electricity and chemistry, both point to the same truth. Thought arises from a flow of energy, and that flow connects us to the wider world. Even the ancient idea of the brain as a miniature universe has found its reflection in modern discovery. Philosophers once imagined the skull as a dome mirroring the heavens, with thought as a kind of starlight inside. Today, scientists using powerful imaging tools have revealed that the structure of the brain does resemble the structure of the cosmos. Networks of neurons connect in patterns strikingly similar to the web of galaxies. The similarity is not just poetic, it is mathematical. The same rules that govern the clustering of matter in space also appear in the clustering of neurons in the brain. What the ancients intuited as metaphor, modern science has begun to show as fact. There is also the matter of dreams. For thousands of years, dreams were seen as messages from the gods, or as journeys of the soul into the heavens. Ancient Egyptians recorded dream interpretations. Native American traditions spoke of dreams as connections to the spirit world. Across cultures, people believed that in sleep, the mind left the body and traveled into the cosmos. Today, science explains dreams in terms of brain activity, neurons firing, memories replaying, imagination weaving stories from fragments of experience. Yet the mystery remains. Why do dreams feel so vivid, so real? so meaningful? Why do they sometimes reveal insights we could not see while awake? Even with all our technology, dreams still carry the aura of connection to something larger, something beyond ourselves, much like the ancients believed. Modern physics, too, begins to touch the language of the ancients when it describes the interconnectedness of reality. The idea of quantum entanglement, where particles remain linked across space, is not so different from the old belief that all things are connected by an invisible thread. Theories of cosmic energy echo the ancient sense of a life force binding the self to the stars. Even the search for consciousness in neuroscience often returns us to questions that sound like philosophy, questions about the nature of self, awareness, and existence itself. Imagine lying quietly now, with your eyes closed, listening to the rhythm of your breath. Think of those ancient people gazing up at the stars, trying to make sense of their place in the universe. Their stories may have been different from ours, but their longing was the same, to understand how the mind fits into the cosmos. Now think of scientists today, with their particle accelerators and space telescopes, searching for the same answers. Both the ancients and the moderns are asking the same question: how is consciousness connected to the universe? The beauty lies in how these perspectives complement each other. The ancients gave us poetry, metaphor, and myth. They saw patterns, they told stories, they wove meaning into the stars. Modern science gives us data, equations, and experiments. It measures, predicts, and explains. One speaks to the heart, the other to the mind. Yet together, they form a more complete picture. The truth is not only in the numbers, nor only in the myths, but in the harmony of both. As you drift deeper into rest, you can hold both perspectives in your mind. The ancient view that your thoughts are connected to the stars, and the modern view that your neurons echo the patterns of galaxies. The ancient belief in a life force flowing through all things, and the modern understanding of energy shaping every thought. The ancient stories of dreams as journeys into the heavens, and the modern science of dreams as the brain's creative theater. Different languages, different tools, yet always the same human yearning to know, where does the mind end, and where does the universe begin? Dreams have always fascinated the human mind. They slip in quietly, arriving when we drift into the deeper stages of sleep, unfolding stories that feel both familiar and otherworldly. In the stillness of night, behind closed eyes, entire worlds are born. We can walk down streets that never existed, speak to people we have never met, and even experience events that defy the laws of physics. Some dreams are vivid, filled with detail and emotion, while others dissolve like mist the moment we wake. Across cultures, across generations, dreams have been seen not only as products of the brain, but as portals to something larger, something beyond the ordinary boundaries of waking life. The ancient Egyptians believed that dreams were messages from the divine, moments when the gods reached down to whisper into human consciousness. They recorded dreams on papyrus and sought meaning in their symbols, convinced that the dream state opened a passageway between the human mind and the greater universe. In Native American traditions, dreams were regarded as powerful spiritual journeys where the soul could travel beyond the body to learn, to heal, and to connect with ancestral wisdom. In Greece, philosophers like Aristotle pondered whether dreams were reflections of bodily states, or glimpses into the workings of the soul itself. As science has advanced, the study of dreams has become the study of brain activity. We now know that dreams occur primarily during REM sleep, a stage marked by rapid eye movements and heightened brain activity. During this time, neurons in the brain fire in patterns that weave together fragments of memory, imagination, and emotion. The sleeping brain is far from silent. It is alive with creativity, generating experiences that feel as real as waking life. Modern researchers describe dreams as the brain's theater, where consciousness experiments with ideas, rehearses scenarios, and processes emotions. Yet even with all this knowledge, the mystery of dreams remains. Why do we dream? What purpose do dreams serve? And why do they often feel like glimpses into something more profound than the self? Consider the strange quality of dreams. They bend time and space. They defy logic, yet they are experienced as completely real in the moment. In a dream, you may find yourself walking through your childhood home, only to open a door and step into a city you have never visited. You may feel fear, joy, wonder, or sadness as vividly as you do in waking life. This immersive quality of dreams suggests that they are not merely random firings of the brain, but intricate simulations generated by consciousness itself. Some neuroscientists suggest that dreaming is a way for the brain to test out possibilities, to rehearse responses to challenges, or to integrate memories. But for many people, dreams feel like more than just mental rehearsals. They feel like connections to something beyond the individual mind. There are countless stories of inspiration arriving through dreams. The chemist Friedrich August Haeckel dreamt of a snake biting its own tail, which inspired his discovery of the ring structure of the benzene molecule. The inventor Elias Howe dreamt of being attacked with spears that had holes in their tips, a vision that led him to create the sewing machine needle. Musicians, writers, and artists across centuries have described dreams as sources of creative insight, as though the dream world provides access to a deeper well of knowledge than waking thought alone. These moments suggest that dreams might serve as a bridge between the conscious and the unconscious, between the self and the vast ocean of creativity that feels almost universal. In the language of modern science, dreams can be seen as the brain's way of exploring neural pathways that are normally quiet during waking life. They allow associations that are unlikely or even impossible in ordinary thought, creating unexpected connections between ideas, memories, and emotions. In this sense, dreams do not only belong to the individual, they are shaped by the architecture of the brain itself, which is a product of billions of years of cosmic evolution. Every neuron in the brain carries the imprint of this history, and in dreams, those ancient patterns may come alive, forming experiences that echo the deep structure of the universe. There is also the recurring idea of dreams as journeys beyond the self. Many people report dreams in which they feel as though they are flying, floating, or leaving their bodies behind. Others describe encounters with beings who seem to exist outside of their own imagination, figures that teach, guide, or comfort them. Such experiences are common across cultures, appearing in stories of dream journeys, visions, and astral travel. Even though science explains these phenomena as the brain's construction of vivid imagery, the experience of transcendence remains real to the dreamer. It is as if the dream allows consciousness to expand beyond its normal boundaries, touching something that feels infinite, something that feels universal. Lucid dreams add another dimension to this experience. In a lucid dream, the dreamer becomes aware that they are dreaming and can sometimes even shape the dream itself. This unique state blurs the boundary between waking and dreaming, offering a rare opportunity to explore consciousness directly. Lucid dreamers often describe a sense of wonder and empowerment, as if they have stepped into a universe of their own making. Yet even here, the dream feels like a portal, a space where imagination merges with reality, and where the limits of the mind seem to dissolve. From a scientific perspective, lucid dreaming involves the activation of brain regions normally associated with self-awareness, particularly the prefrontal cortex. But beyond the neurological explanation lies the profound subjective experience, the realization that consciousness can awaken within its own creations, that the dreamer can stand inside the dream and shape it. This experience mirrors larger philosophical questions about waking life itself. Are we, too, dreaming within a larger reality? Could the universe itself be a vast, shared dream, shaped by forces beyond our comprehension? Such questions blur the line between science and philosophy, between brain and cosmos. The therapeutic power of dreams further highlights their role as a universal portal. Psychologists often use dream analysis to uncover hidden emotions, unresolved conflicts, or unconscious desires. Dreams can bring to light feelings that the waking mind represses, offering insight and healing. For many, recurring dreams reveal patterns in life that need attention, guiding the dreamer toward growth and self-understanding. The dream becomes not only a personal story, but also a mirror reflecting the deeper rhythms of human existence. What is especially striking is how universal dreams are. Every culture, every time period, every individual has experienced them. The content of dreams may vary, but the phenomenon itself is shared across all of humanity. This universality suggests that dreaming is not just a byproduct of brain activity, but a fundamental feature of consciousness itself. It is something we all carry, like a thread linking us together, weaving the inner life of each person into the collective tapestry of human experience. As you listen now, you can picture dreams as a kind of gentle bridge. On one side is the waking world, full of logic, structure, and order. On the other side is the vast cosmos, full of mystery, possibility, and infinite patterns. Dreams span the gap between the two, allowing the mind to wander freely, to touch the edges of infinity, to bring back whispers of the universal. Whether we see them as neurobiological processes, spiritual journeys, or creative playgrounds, dreams remind us that the human mind is not a closed box. It is open, porous, connected, and deeply woven into the rhythms of the universe. When we look up at the night sky, scattered with countless stars, there is often a quiet feeling that the universe is reflecting something back to us. That same sense of wonder arises when we consider the human brain, for within the folds of its soft, intricate tissue lies an astonishing resemblance to the cosmos itself. Scientists have long noticed parallels between the structure of the brain and the large-scale structure of the universe. These parallels are not merely poetic, they are supported by striking patterns, shapes, and dynamics that suggest the brain may in some way act as a mirror of the cosmos. Inside your head rests nearly 86 billion neurons, each one branching and reaching out, forming connections with thousands of others. These neurons create an unimaginably complex network, transmitting signals through tiny electrical impulses, weaving thoughts, memories, and emotions into existence. Now imagine the universe itself. Across its vastness stretch billions of galaxies, each one a sprawling collection of stars, gas, and dust, bound together by gravity. These galaxies form clusters, filaments, and webs, separated by immense voids. When cosmologists map these large-scale structures, the image looks strikingly similar to the neural network inside the brain. Two different realms, the microscopic and the cosmic, yet they share a nearly identical architecture. Researchers have studied this resemblance in detail. In 2020, a group of Italian physicists compared the patterns of neuron networks in the brain with the cosmic web of galaxies. They found that the distribution of matter in the universe and the distribution of neurons in the brain followed remarkably similar mathematical rules. Both systems showed networks where only about 30% of their mass is concentrated in nodes, while the rest exists in filaments or connections. This suggests that despite the vast difference in scale, the brain being measured in millimeters and the universe in billions of light years, both systems are organized according to the same underlying principles. The brain seems to echo the structure of the cosmos, as though consciousness itself carries the imprint of the universe. But the reflection goes deeper than structure. Just as the universe is in constant motion, expanding, evolving, and reshaping itself, so too is the brain, dynamic and ever-changing. Neurons continually form new connections, strengthen or weaken old ones, and reorganize themselves in response to experience. This process, known as neuroplasticity, allows the brain to adapt and grow. Similarly, galaxies drift, collide, and merge. Stars are born and die, and the cosmic web stretches ever outward. Both systems are alive with movement, with cycles of creation and transformation. It is as if the brain and the universe are engaged in the same cosmic dance, each reflecting the other's rhythms on a different scale. Even the language we use for both reflects this mirroring. We speak of black holes in the universe, mysterious regions from which nothing can escape. In the brain, we speak of the black box of consciousness, a realm we cannot fully penetrate or explain. We describe the firing of neurons as sparks of light, and we speak of stars as fiery points scattered across darkness. When we imagine thought itself, we often picture a flickering web of lights, not unlike a constellation in the night sky. Our metaphors naturally link the brain and the cosmos, as though some part of us instinctively recognizes the similarity. Philosophers have long wondered whether the universe is conscious in some way, or whether consciousness itself is a fundamental property of reality. In these discussions, the brain is often seen as a microcosm of the larger whole, a smaller reflection of the universal mind. Just as a single wave reflects the movement of the ocean, the brain may reflect the processes of the cosmos. This idea does not claim that the universe literally has a brain, but rather that the patterns we see within our skulls mirror the patterns spread across space. The human mind, then, becomes a way for the universe to know itself, a mirror through which the cosmos can reflect upon its own nature. From a spiritual perspective, this mirroring has profound implications. Many traditions have taught that the self is not separate from the universe, but an expression of it. The Hindu philosophy of Advaita Vedanta speaks of Brahman, the ultimate reality, reflected in Atman, the self. The Hermetic axiom from ancient Egypt declares, as above, so below. These teachings suggest that what we find within is not separate from what exists beyond us. The brain, then, may not simply resemble the cosmos, it may be an instrument tuned to its frequency, a mirror polished to reflect its endless patterns. Science, too, hints at this connection in subtler ways. Consider the role of energy. The brain, though only about 3 pounds in weight, consumes nearly 20% of the body's energy. Its electrical impulses flicker constantly, generating thought after thought, like tiny stars lighting up the darkness of the mind. Meanwhile, the universe itself is a vast sea of energy. Stars blaze with nuclear fusion, galaxies glow with light, and invisible fields of dark energy drive cosmic expansion. Both brain and cosmos are powered by flows of energy. Both transform energy into forms that create structure and order. This shared dependence on energy deepens the sense of mirroring, as though both brain and universe are engines of transformation, radiating possibility. Another striking parallel lies in the unknown. Neuroscientists still cannot fully explain how consciousness arises from the brain's activity. We can measure electrical impulses, we can observe blood flow, but the actual experience of being, the feeling of awareness, remains a mystery. Likewise, cosmologists can map galaxies, calculate the expansion of the universe, and measure radiation left over from the Big Bang, but they cannot yet explain dark matter and dark energy, which together make up about 95% of the universe. Both brain and cosmos hide their deepest truths. Both contain mysteries that evade our tools and theories. They stand as mirrors of each other in their vast unknowability, reminding us that our knowledge, though vast, is always incomplete. This mirroring invites us to see the brain not only as an organ of thought, but as a cosmic instrument. When you think, imagine, or dream, your brain is enacting patterns that reflect the same laws shaping galaxies. When you feel awe beneath the starlit sky, it may be because the neurons in your brain resonate with the cosmic web above, like strings vibrating in harmony. Your mind, in this sense, is not separate from the universe, it is one of its reflections, a smaller version of its infinite complexity. Imagine lying beneath the stars on a clear summer night, far from city lights. You gaze upward and see the Milky Way stretching across the sky, a band of countless stars arching overhead. At the same time, within your skull, your neurons are glowing with activity, firing in intricate patterns as you take in the sight. The brain and the cosmos mirror each other in that moment, two vast networks of light, one within, one beyond, both reflecting the same essence of wonder. Perhaps this is why stargazing has such a calming effect. Perhaps it is why meditation often brings a sense of spaciousness, as if the mind expands outward to meet the cosmos. In these moments, the boundaries between inner and outer blur, and we glimpse the truth that the brain is not just in the universe, but of the universe. It is built from the same particles, shaped by the same laws, and patterned by the same rhythms. It is both a receiver and a mirror, reflecting the infinite back into itself. When we speak of the universe, we often imagine stars, galaxies, and the vastness of space unfolding silently. guided by the laws of physics. Yet within this immense expanse arises something that seems to stand apart from the rest: consciousness. Human awareness, the sense of being, the ability to reflect, dream, and imagine, appears almost miraculous when compared to lifeless matter. But perhaps consciousness is not separate at all. Perhaps, in some way, it is woven into the very fabric of the universe, a force as fundamental as gravity or light. Scientists have long tried to understand what consciousness truly is. On one level, it seems to emerge from the activity of the brain, from neurons firing in intricate networks. On another level, it feels immaterial, intangible, something that cannot be touched or weighed, yet is more real to us than anything else. Every experience, every thought, every memory, every dream is shaped by consciousness. Without it, the universe might still exist, but it would remain unperceived, silent, and unreflected. Consciousness gives the cosmos a mirror through which it can know itself. One perspective known as panpsychism suggests that consciousness is not limited to human beings or even animals. Instead, it may be a fundamental quality of the universe itself, present in all things to varying degrees. In this view, every particle of matter carries a spark of awareness, however faint. Atoms, molecules, stars, and galaxies may not think as we do, but they might still participate in some form of primordial consciousness. The human brain, then, does not create consciousness out of nothing. Rather, it organizes and amplifies what already exists in the universe, channeling it into the vivid experience of thought and self-awareness. This idea may seem abstract, but it echoes discoveries in physics. Consider quantum mechanics, where particles can exist in multiple states until observed, as though awareness plays a role in shaping reality. The act of measurement collapses possibilities into a single outcome, raising profound questions about the role of consciousness in the physical world. Could it be that consciousness is not a late product of evolution, but a fundamental thread interwoven with matter and energy since the beginning of time? If so, the brain becomes not a generator of consciousness, but a receiver, lens through which the universal force of awareness is focused and made manifest. Ancient traditions have long hinted at this idea. In Hindu philosophy, the concept of Brahman refers to ultimate reality, the infinite consciousness that pervades all things. In Buddhism, the nature of mind is described as boundless, timeless, and inseparable from the fabric of reality itself. Native American wisdom often speaks of spirit within all things: rocks, rivers, trees, and sky, suggesting that awareness is not limited to humans, but exists throughout nature. These teachings resonate with the idea that consciousness is not a byproduct of matter, but a universal force, one that connects us with the cosmos in ways we are only beginning to understand. Modern neuroscience also provides hints that consciousness may extend beyond the individual self. Research into altered states of awareness, whether through meditation, dreaming, or near-death experiences, often reveals a sense of unity with something larger. People describe dissolving into vast fields of light, merging with the universe, or feeling interconnected with all beings. While science has not yet explained these phenomena fully, they raise intriguing possibilities. If consciousness can expand beyond the boundaries of the body and ego, perhaps it is not confined to the brain alone. Perhaps the brain is simply one of many instruments through which the universal force of consciousness expresses itself. Even at the biological level, life itself demonstrates an astonishing coherence that seems guided by awareness. The trillions of cells in your body function together in harmony, each carrying out its role while contributing to the whole. This coordination happens without conscious control on your part, suggesting that intelligence and awareness are embedded in the very processes of life. Extend this idea outward, and the same principle seems to apply to ecosystems, to planetary systems, and even to the universe itself. Galaxies swirl in ordered patterns, stars form in cycles, and cosmic structures emerge with balance and rhythm, as though the universe itself is guided by an underlying intelligence. The notion of consciousness as a universal force also invites us to reconsider our place in the cosmos. If consciousness is not confined to the human mind, then we are not isolated observers in a vast, indifferent universe. Instead, we are participants in a greater unfolding expressions of the universe, becoming aware of itself. Your thoughts, your dreams, your awareness are not small and insignificant. They are threads in the grand tapestry of existence, woven from the same fabric as stars and galaxies. To be conscious is to carry within you the same force that animates the cosmos. This idea has a soothing quality, especially when viewed in moments of stillness. Imagine lying down at night, closing your eyes, and drifting into the quiet of your own mind. The thoughts that rise and fall, the images that drift through dreams, may feel like private creations, yet they echo patterns as old as the universe itself. Just as galaxies form and dissolve, thoughts arise and fade away. Just as stars blaze and then extinguish, moments of awareness appear and vanish into silence. In this way, your consciousness mirrors the cosmos, its rhythms aligned with the vast cycles of existence. From a scientific perspective, consciousness remains one of the greatest mysteries. Physicists still cannot explain why matter should give rise to awareness at all. Neuroscientists still cannot locate a single place in the brain where consciousness resides. Yet this mystery itself may be the key. The very fact that consciousness resists reduction to purely mechanical explanations suggests it may belong to a deeper layer of reality, one that underlies matter and energy alike. To think of consciousness as a universal force is not to deny science, but to extend its vision, to explore realms that lie just beyond current understanding. Consider, too, the possibility that consciousness connects not only humans with the universe, but all conscious beings with one another. When you look into another person's eyes and sense their presence, you are encountering the same universal force of awareness that flows through you. When animals respond with curiosity or affection, when plants turn toward the sun, when ecosystems maintain their delicate balance, each may be participating in this larger field of consciousness. Awareness becomes not a solitary flame, but a vast ocean in which all minds are waves. This perspective carries profound implications for how we live. If consciousness is truly a universal force, then every act of awareness is part of something larger. The quiet moment of watching a sunrise, the deep stillness of meditation, the simple act of breathing, all are ways in which the universe reflects upon itself through you. Your awareness is not separate from the stars above, the earth beneath your feet, or the life surrounding you. It is continuous with them, a flow of being that stretches beyond time and space. In this sense, consciousness may be the missing link between the inner and outer worlds, the bridge that unites the brain with the cosmos. The neurons in your head are not only generating thoughts, but are also participating in the universal flow of awareness. The stars above are not only burning spheres of gas, but are expressions of the same creative force that gives rise to your ability to wonder. Seen this way, consciousness is not confined to the fragile human body, but belongs to the very fabric of reality, unfolding endlessly in both microcosm and macrocosm. As you let this idea settle, imagine yourself floating in space, surrounded by the infinite darkness and dotted lights of distant stars. In that silence, you become aware not only of your own breathing, your own heartbeat, but of the vast presence around you. Awareness stretches outward, dissolving boundaries, until there is no separation between inner and outer. The universe breathes through you, and you through it. Consciousness reveals itself not as a private possession, but as a universal force, timeless, boundless, and endlessly present. As we have journeyed through these ideas together, a quiet pattern begins to emerge, as though the universe itself has been whispering through the spaces between words. From the first recognition that your brain and the cosmos share the same elemental origins, to the exploration of neural rhythms that mirror cosmic cycles, to the possibility that consciousness itself is not bound within the skull, but extends outward into the fabric of existence. Each keynote has brought us closer to one profound truth. You are not separate from the universe, you are part of it, shaped by it, and deeply connected to it in ways both physical and mysterious. The atoms in your brain once burned in the hearts of stars. The electrical patterns that ripple through your neurons echo the energy flows of galaxies. The quiet pulse of your heartbeat aligns with the rhythms of oceans and planetary orbits. Even your dreams, fragile and fleeting, resemble the unfolding creativity of the cosmos itself. What feels private and personal within you, the thought, the feeling, the spark of awareness, is also cosmic, arising from the same laws and forces that guide stars across the heavens. This script has carried us through 8 reflections, each like a stepping stone across a vast river. We considered the brain as a microcosm of the cosmos, a mirror through which the universe contemplates itself. We explored the resonance between neural patterns and cosmic vibrations, suggesting that the rhythms of your inner world are tuned to the greater symphony of space and time. We lingered on the mysteries of quantum entanglement and the possibility that your awareness is interlaced with the universe where distance and separation may only be illusions. We reflected on the dreams that arise in sleep, dreams that may be small fragments of a larger dream woven by the cosmos itself. We listened to ancient traditions that remind us of timeless connections, echoes from cultures that sense the presence of spirit and awareness in all things. We walked carefully through the balance of science and spirituality, in conflict, but in harmony, allowing both to guide us closer to the truth of our existence. And finally, we stood with the possibility that consciousness is not only within us, but is a universal force, one that binds all beings, all matter, and all experience into one boundless whole. What emerges from these explorations is a gentle reassurance. You are not alone, drifting in an indifferent cosmos. You are the cosmos, awake for a brief moment, aware of itself through the miracle of your mind. Your awareness is not small and fragile, but part of something immeasurable. Every breath, every heartbeat, every dream is part of the unfolding universe, just as every star, every galaxy, every horizon of space belongs to the same story. As you let these thoughts settle, imagine yourself floating within that story. Imagine the quiet of the night sky, the shimmer of stars above, the calm rhythm of your own breath. In this stillness, the boundaries between you and the universe begin to blur. Your mind becomes vast as space. Your body becomes part of the earth. Your awareness extends outward into infinity. You are not simply in the universe, you are of the universe, inseparable from its energy, its rhythms, its endless flow. And as you rest in this thought, let it carry you gently, like a soft tide, into a state of peace. For in this peace, you align with the universe itself. In this peace, you remember what has always been true. You are not just connected to the cosmos, you are the cosmos, reflecting, dreaming, and knowing itself through you.